Looking at the Markets with David Modell.
Welcome to Looking at the Markets with David Modell. I've got a return guest and one of my most popular guests. He is Mr. Leor Gantz, and he is from wealthresearchgroup.com. And I'm so proud to have him back again. So thank you, Mr. Gantz, for joining me on Looking at the Markets.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you've spoken about so many things. You have such expertise in so many areas. I want to just look forward and see what's on your mind lately. So what's the key industry that you're now looking at for quarter 4 of 2017 and also for quarter 1 and quarter 2 of 2018?
Well, that's an excellent question because obviously with small cap companies, which is what we focus on most with Wealth Research Group, the shifting tides of speculation really affect where people, where speculative money goes and where valuations get really good. So, for example, in early 2016, we covered 12 gold and silver companies from February of 2016 until August of 2016. All of them have doubled, and 3 of them went up 200, 400, and one of them even went up 500%. But since August of 2016 until today, the last year, the speculative money has gone from junior mining and went into cryptocurrencies. So we covered Ethereum at $12. We covered Monero at 98 cents. We covered Steam very early on as well, like 16 cents if I'm not mistaken. And the speculative money right now is moving into cannabis. And the reason that it's moving into cannabis is twofold. One, California is going to be fully legalized on January 1st, 2018. So this is the last quarter that basically you can position yourself before the California legalization happens. And more interesting than that is Canada is going to be the second fully legalized country in the world by July 1st of 2018. And so you're asking me about the next 3 quarters. It's going to be cannabis, and the beauty of it is that unlike any other small cap sector, David, this is very interesting, and this is something that's unique and standalone for cannabis. Cannabis is a commodity. Cannabis is easy to understand because the companies cash flow and become profitable immediately. This is not like an FDA approval type small cap company where it's either a go or no go. It's a lottery ticket, and it's not a mining company that is progressing a project for years and years and keep de-risking it. Cannabis is easy to understand. You look at the balance sheet, you look at the hyper growth, you see if the company is positioned for growth and how much it's priced at, and it's much safer. And if we're talking about Canada, it's even safer because it's legalized on the state level, not like in the United States where it's legalized state by state and not on the federal level. So I am very excited about California, even more excited about Canada becoming only the second country in the world to fully legalize.
Sure. Now, what do you think about this industry overall?
Well, first of all, for your listeners, we created a special report on the cannabis industry. Just go to wealthresearchgroup.com/profit, and you can check out the detailed analysis of the cannabis industry, including our #1 opportunity within the cannabis sector. Regarding cannabis, it's the fastest growing industry in the United States. It's the fastest growing industry in Canada. And the reason is it's the end of prohibition, David. So just, figure that the demand is already there. It's just moving from the illegal market into a better market, the legal market. It's regulated. There's more quality control. When it's over the counter, you can see the product, you can look at the ingredients, you can look at the doses, you can consult. The move from illegal to legal is such a beneficial move for any industry, and particularly when you talk about a crop that is both used for medicinal and recreational purposes. So with recreational, you need to know the right doses, right? You don't want to get high in a way that you lose control over yourself, right? You want that nice little buzz, like wine at the end of the day. So got to figure that the demographics for this, it's not like the 60s. The demographics are high-end working people that are just enjoying it with friends. It's very responsible, and you need to know what to do, right? On the medicinal front, it's a world of its own. It could be as big as a lot of the pharmaceutical companies. In fact, with regards to relieving pain and helping with the opiates pandemic in the United States, we're talking about a huge potential. In fact, 3 out of every 4 doctors in the United States right now are in favor of legalization on the medicinal level and are ready to prescribe, if push comes to shove and this becomes federally legal, a cannabis product. The public is very ready. Over 68% are in favor of full legalization, and over 50% are in favor of the medicinal legalization. Obviously, with recreational, there's a lot of education that still needs to be done. But we've seen the case studies in Colorado. You've seen the job market there is the best in the United States. It's helping the satellite economy, so like lawyers, advertising groups, websites. The cannabis multiplier is very big in Colorado, and you see less crimes, less youth crimes, more youth education about cannabis, and it's really a win-win. So if you're asking me about how big can it go, look, the internal rate of growth is 16 to 25% for the next decade. We're talking about an industry that's going to be probably bigger than alcohol at one point. And the fact of the matter is that creating a legalization process will create a huge shortage for the crop, because you got to figure that a lot of people do not use cannabis just because they don't want to break the law, right? Once it becomes legal, they would like to try either for their medicinal purposes or for recreational. There's going to be a shortage in the coming quarters of cannabis, which is even going to be more bullish for the companies that cultivate them and extract them and do everything that has to do with touching the product. I'm very excited about this. Overall, I think cannabis offers a chance for pioneer investors to really turn a couple of thousands of dollars into hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it really reminds me of finding out about Bitcoin in early 2013 when it was only $19 per coin. So if you're asking me about potential, I think that this has massive potential.
All right, so you've convinced me of the potential for the industry, but what makes you think this is the right timing to get involved in this industry?
I'll tell you what. The only it's a great question, and I'll tell you why. Because it's very interesting to see that doing research on this industry. What I've found is there are many accomplished scientists that are leading the stampede to legalize cannabis. You've got Nobel Prize winners. You've got Ivy League scientists that all around the world are pushing studies forward about people who have been relieved of great pain, of sleeping problems, and the list is huge of benefits. And this is all coming to the surface. Once this comes to the surface and becomes mainstream information, which is what's happening right now, you're going to see a flood of people and a flood of institutional money funding the research for these cannabis companies. Realize that cannabis is a plant. It's natural, right? It has two active ingredients, THC and CBD. And once we put in billions of dollars in research, because this was illegal thus far, but being legal, you can put in billions of dollars of research and find out exactly how to create natural products that help thousands of different ailments. This has huge potential, and the reason why the timing is now is because the end of prohibition, the process of legalization, is a singular event. This is not a cyclical bull-bear market. It's not like an ordinary event. It's a one-time event. Think of the 30s. Think of the Kennedy family that was so instrumental in the first years after prohibition that they even got the political capital to have their son elected as president. The end of prohibition makes fortunes for people, but you have to be a pioneer investor. You have to do it now. If you do it in a year or 2 years, etc., you're getting into to a bidding war with all the other investors who will be ready. I got to tell you a story. I was at a cannabis conference 2 weeks ago. There was 143 participants, out of which like 120 were retail, just regular investors. And at a show of hands, only 5 have already been investing in cannabis stocks. You are first. This is like the ground floor for these cannabis companies. There was a wave back in 2014, the first wave of success, and it created cannabis millionaires. I've spoken to 13 of them in doing research for Wealth Research Group, and 7 of them are from Harvard and Yale. It's the people that are getting involved with this, who understand the potential. These are sophisticated investors, and the timing is now, basically, David. In 2 to 3 to 4 years, you're going to see more competition, better pricing, but now you're going to see speculation money driving companies up. And we've seen 40, the index has like 40 marijuana stocks. You've seen 20 of them rise over tenfold in the last rise. So, look, the quality ones are going to create very, very sizable gains for early investors.
I totally agree. You've got to get in early if you're going to be a winner in this game. But let's talk about research. How much research have you put into looking at this industry?
Well, the research goes back to 2013. Once Colorado became legal, I flew to Aspen in January of 2013. This is 2 months after it got legalized. Started watching the evolution of it. Every summer I went to another state that got legalized to see exactly what's going on. And this summer I went to Vancouver to see exactly what they're planning, because Canada is going to be next. And what I've learned is that there are particular companies, well-funded companies with exceptional management teams that have basically advanced much more than the competition. And the reason is you got to have licenses in Canada. So if you there's only 62 licenses at this point. If you control some of these licenses, you have an advantage over other companies that are just popping up. If you have the capital, you can consolidate further. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for the most undervalued company or companies in Canada and in California that are ahead of the competition, because the next 3 quarters, that's that's where the next behemoths, the monsters of this industry will be formed. And you're just looking for the ones that are mispriced, that the market has overlooked. And that's what I was focused on for about 4 months now. So we've done a lot of research. We've narrowed down about 71 companies into 8 companies. One of them, like I told you, is the wealthresearchgroup.com/profit. For me, as I see it, it's the #1 most undervalued company in Canada right now that is well capitalized and has exceptional management team and everything in place to grow.
All right. Well, you've got me in suspense here. So please tell me: is there any particular company you can name that stands out in the marijuana industry?
Well, as I said, the way that I looked at this is I looked at the valuation matrix that the institutional funds are looking at when they take a look at the cannabis companies. and the one that is clearly undervalued. When I say clearly undervalued, it is 60% discounted to fair value. So it will need to rise 250% in order to be at par with its peer group of companies. It's called Invictus MD. It's trading obviously in Canada on the venture under the ticker IMH, and in the States on over the counter the ticker is IVITF. And the reason I think that Invictus is such a compelling opportunity is because they've diversified within the regions in Canada. So they have a property in Alberta, they have 2 properties in Ontario, and they got another one that they're advancing in British Columbia. And all of these are licenses. So the Invictus specifically has the largest package in Canada for building cultivation facilities as the demand increases. And they've partnered with very good, reputable companies like Eric Ridge Farms in Alberta, and they own 100% of that facility from them. They also own 33% of their properties in Ontario. If you're looking at their numbers, they're going to be at about $12 million next year in EBITDA, in profit, after $12 million US. Now, when you take a look at these companies, they are trading at about a 20-to-1 PE ratio. Just looking at a fair cut of all of the top quality ones. Well, right now, Invictus is trading at 8-to-1. That means it needs to rise 250% for it to be at par with the other companies. That's why I tell you, it is the most undervalued one that I've found in our research, and this goes back about 4 months. What I really like is the management team. You're talking, they have the legal, they have the management, they have the leadership, and they're advancing. They have $20 million in cash. This company is going to move and make other acquisitions. Right now, they have medicinal facilities. Once the recreational part gets legal, and July 1st, they're going to go into recreational. But understand the difference between them and other companies is they're already built as a medicinal company. So in the next 3 quarters, they can turn profits, then have all this capital to consolidate and grow. I've seen many companies, many cannabis companies. This is by far the #1 company to look at right now. You can obviously go to their website as well. It's Invictus -MD.com, and you can take a look more at what's going on with the company. In my opinion, this will be big, and you can go to wealthresearchgroup.com/profit for our detailed research on the company, David.
And I know you do plenty of research over at wealthresearchgroup.com. So I'm always on the lookout for new and exciting opportunities. Whenever a company is mispriced, undervalued companies, it sounds like Invictus would fit the bill for that one. And am I correct? That's in Canada, that's ticker symbol IMH, and in the United States, the over-the-counter stock ticker symbol is IVITF. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did. Yeah, and what's brilliant about this situation is that it's very easy to compare it to other companies because it makes money. It's not like a startup technological company that just raises funds, and does research in order to one day have a breakthrough technology. It's a clear-cut case of profits, and you can take a look at other companies and how they're positioned, and then you can say, hey, as a shareholder, you own part of the company, and you want to own the company that makes the most amount of money, but is priced at the fairest level, right? And so Invictus fits that exactly. And there's analyst reports about Invictus, obviously, but I've met with the founder, I've met with the CEO, Dan, and the guy is super legit. I mean, he's built companies before. He has been around in the cannabis industry almost since inception in Canada. So we've said enough about it. I mean, it's worth a look.
I'm so excited about just the industry as a whole, and as well as the research you're doing. I think is fantastic. And I just wanted to brag a little bit about wealthresearchgroup.com. I know you're modest about it, but I'm going to brag for you. wealthresearchgroup.com/profit. And that's a free report, am I right?
Yeah. Look, I've been on your show before. The way that we structured Wealth Research Group when we built it is we wanted to make sure that there is no threshold. We recommend that people put 90% of their net worth in cash flowing, safe compounding asset classes like rental real estate, dividend companies, private lending for interest, anything that can facilitate a lifestyle of a safe investing regime over decades. But we do appreciate the potential of putting 10% in more speculative opportunities, and that's what Wealth Research Group is focused on. Those two layers, that safe compounding layer that gives you that sleep good at night feeling that you're growing your wealth slowly but surely. But also, if you want massive monster gains or the potential for them with a sensible position, then you got to take a look at cannabis right now. The tides of speculation move around all the time. Blockchain is important right now. Cryptocurrencies, obviously, and then you got natural resources, which are going to pick up in the next few months as oil prices start to rise and inflation starts to rise. But right now, cannabis legalization, the process of making it from illegal to legal, is going to have floodgates bursting open, because the amount of capital that will go in there, institutional capital, that is now prohibited from doing so, will make valuations very, very attractive. And who knows, with hyper growth, you never know how much these companies can really be priced at. Sometimes it boggles your mind.
People need to go over to wealthresearchgroup.com/profit, and also just check out the whole website, wealthresearchgroup.com. I'm excited about the cannabis industry, and now I'm excited about Invictus in particular. So Mr. Leo Gantz is always offering knowledge and ideas for your investments, and just for you to take a look at. So thank you, Mr. Leo Gantz, for coming on Looking at the Markets. I hope we can make a regular guest out of you, and we're looking forward to talking to you again soon.
Well, hey, thanks for having me.